Hello, and welcome to the Ketchup Corner.
Yeah, we're back.
We are doing a little bit of a different video. It is still kind of media related, but we're not actually talking about a specific piece of media today
Yeah, today was supposed to be Star Wars Andor, but it is not. And you want to explain why?
because I have not finished the
She has
series
not
yet.
finished it yet.
Because of the topic of today, and I think that is burnout.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's a good topic.
Yeah, so some people are gonna look at this and think like, oh, like this isn't media related, blah blah blah. But it really is. We are content creators, but we both each have two jobs.
Yeah,
So getting burnt out is something that happens
a lot.
a lot more frequently
Quite a
than we
bit.
like.
Quite a bit, actually.
So we'll be talking about burnout, what burnout means to us, how it affects us, and maybe some coping strategies that we like to use.
Media-wise, of course, because you have to be media-related. What are you going to do about it? So, okay. Do you want to explain how we got to this point of this episode?
So, I feel like I'm getting a little burnt out on the Star Wars universe. We have discussed how we are going to go about doing Star Wars from now on, and we need to sit down and readjust our timeline. We think this is going to be considered part 1 of our Star Wars journey, and then we're going to take a break, do some different themes, and then come back in May for Star Wars month and do like a part 2 to Star Wars because I'm getting so burnt out on Star Wars media, not because I'm not liking what we're watching. For the most part, I'm really, really enjoying the Star Wars universe, but it's such a dense and heavy universe to be in.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Especially when you're in it for like 2 solid months in a row.
Yeah, which is fair. Which is valid. So, did you have this with the Muppets, may I ask?
No, not at all. I think I had, Jim Henson as a whole, even his like darker things, I was still having such a really good time with, but those weren't as heavy, and they all at least had like a little bit of a fun aspect to them.
So is it a topic matter thing or is it a lore thing? Because I thought it was a lore thing because so many shows connect to everything else. Like, for those that don't know, we planned this out way in advance to try to get things going. And obviously being the Star Wars expert, I was like, okay, let's get things going with this, for example. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that the new Disney Plus era really likes to emphasize the Clone War era specifically. A lot of it comes back to the Clone Wars to some degree. Book of Boba Fett does go back to the Mandalorian, but also has a very important figure from the Clone Wars that is a part of the finale for some reason. The Clone Wars itself does show itself in the Mandalorian every once in a while. Star Wars Rebels follow up to the Clone Wars because it takes place during the rise of the Empire, obviously. So that's a huge one as well. And there's a lot of recurring characters from that, and some characters from movies that, if she doesn't know the context, wouldn't make as much sense. Even Obi-Wan is tied to some eras. I forgot the Inquisitors were in Obi-Wan for a minute. Like, the Grand Inquisitor himself, who's important to the early Rebel show. I forgot he was there for a while. And that's not even tipping into other shows like Ahsoka, which ties Rebels and Clone Wars together, because that is so important. I thought you were getting burned out because of the lore, because we tackled the easiest stuff first, but then 7 seasons of Clone Wars to try to do for an episode is a lot to catch up on. And unlike the Muppet stuff, where, like, you could easily, like, just watch a few episodes, get a general gist, and be like, yeah, I liked it. You know, this is lore heavy. You need to know everything going on, or else it won't make as much sense.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think it's a lot to watch. I think it's also timing. Like, again, 2 jobs. I also run a booktube channel, and I don't want that channel to fall behind because it's not fair to my viewers. I am trying to read as well and watch all of these new things and also work. I mean, my retail job is definitely going to be cutting my hours. Like, on the newest schedule, I only have 9 hours.
Yeah.
So I will have a lot more time to read and watch if I don't pick up the occasional shift.
I was going to say, they probably will ask you a couple times to go in. So
I will have at least some time to get back into the swing of things. But I think just timing And with the amount that there is to watch and all of the lore that's behind it, like, it's so much to keep track of. We can see already, like, there have been times within this podcast that I've forgotten essential characters because it's so much to pay attention to.
It is. And it's not a bad thing, and you're not doing a bad job at all. It's just a lot, and it's rapid fire. So I guess that goes into my question. When did you start to feel the burn? When did you?
Not until recently. I think, honestly, when we started getting to Andor, and then I realized how close the Clone Wars was coming up, because I had planned to, like, set aside a whole, like, day or two to just watch all episodes, like, a ton of episodes of the Clone Wars, but then we kept on getting busy, and, like, I don't want my social life to be impacted either. Like, I don't have much of a social life, but I don't want my social life to also be impacted because of this podcast. And we ended up having, like, my sister scheduled a game night that we ended up going to.
Except for me, because I was sick.
I know. And then we ended up, like, we always hang out with Connor on Mondays before you go to D&D.
Yep.
And it just doesn't leave a lot of time. It's now being back to work full time and the retail job.
The Christmas schedule.
That was the most brutal. That was the most brutal because I was working mornings, which I was getting up even earlier than I'm used to getting up to. So that was like, that really threw off my sleep schedule especially. Mm-hmm. So I think it affected everything.
And, like, she can do an episode without me. This is technically still her show at the end of the day, because I also go through the same things with 2 jobs. I know this media, so I don't have to rewatch it tried and truly unless I really want to, because I've watched it so many times. Autism, but I'm kidding. It's still just, it's a really fun interest of mine. But, she can't do an episode without me. She just refuses to.
It's not that I refuse to. First of all, I know you keep on saying this is my podcast and I'm the host of it.
And it is.
But it's your podcast too.
No, it's not. If we got divorced, you'd get the custody.
But I probably wouldn't do this podcast without you. If we got divorced, it's because it doesn't work if it's just one person talking about it. If it's just one person talking about it, then I might as well have just gone with my original idea and just done YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube videos of a solo person can be seen as a podcast. Your videos, I feel like, could be seen as a podcast anyway. It's not a diss. I should probably regard. This is not a setting up the boxing match, by the way. I would win. No, she gave me a look as if she wouldn't drop an elbow on me to win or cheap shot me to get a win. But I feel like, honestly, your videos, if you watch her book talk, she's not book talk. She's not weird. She's actually a good reader and a very civil reader. But
don't shit on Book Talk. There are some actual really good creators on Book Talk.
That aren't horny?
Yeah.
Or weird?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll believe you. I feel like that Kingdom Hearts meme. Okay, I believe you. Anyways, so if you haven't watched your book stuff already, you should. But, like, your videos are very podcast format in a way as it is. Like, other than the vlogs, but even then, that's, like, people can pause it and, like, read along for a page or two on, like, your musical interludes. I feel like you're very podcast-like as it is. You and me, apparently, are, like, the podcast creators.
But I think it's more interesting with a second voice. I feel that way about most podcasts.
What? Yeah. What? Sorry, the way you were cradling that near my PC scared the shit out of me.
Fine, if I'm thirsty, though, you're handing it to me.
I will, don't you worry.
Okay.
For those that don't know, she was cradling a Stanley on her lap, and it was scaring the piss out of me because she's a clumsy person. She's very clumsy. You trip upstairs more than I've ever seen a person in my life.
This is not the topic of the podcast.
No, we're gonna deviate. And I've seen you trip upstairs. I've seen you go, and drop stuff more than ever. The fact your phone is still alive is a wonder, quite frankly. So, yeah, I'm not letting that near my PC. You can ask me for your drink. Anyways, Burnout. I feel like it is more fun with 2 people or more. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like if you wanted to, you could still do this podcast format in a way. Like, you could do the YouTube video with your music and interludes and all that shit, but then you could still do it as a podcast on Spotify and Apple and all that shit. Because I feel like your content is that as it is, which isn't a bad thing. Our friends love your content, and so do I, quite frankly. What the hell was that face? I do.
I know, but you, like, hesitated to say you too. Like, only our friends like it?
Well, I mean, I'm an obvious one. I like anything you do. And I am not afraid to tell you otherwise, so... But you make great content, and I feel like you could do this. You just don't want to because it's more fun with more than one person.
Yeah, I think it's more to have a podcast. I personally think it's more fun if you have another person with you, or if you have like viewer involvement, which we don't really have yet.
Except there's an instance where she's wrong on both. My favorite podcast is Mind Milk by Scramaram. Go watch Mind Milk, please.
But he usually has like viewer like engagement.
That's true. They ask him a lot of questions.
He has questions that he answers.
I mean, even then, he's done like episodes off of ideas he thought of. So I'm just saying, Scram's up there in regards to podcasting. He is like the Joe Rogan of the friend group, except he's actually not. Like, I'm kidding.
Sam is more of an extrovert than I am.
Okay, Sam
Sam can. And this is not a dig at you, buddy.
I don't know.
Sam can talk and talk and talk and just keep that conversation going. I can't do that.
Okay, that's fair. We have a very hard time in our friend stream chats sometimes, as it is. And that's why she's gone sometimes for all of our dear friends. She just doesn't know what to say. And she should be more forgiving of herself, because she could say anything and y'all would be okay with it.
All right.
But either way, back to the burnout. I feel like it was the lore. But I feel like at the end of the day, you could pull this off. So it was a lore thing. Yeah. What about the other side of it? Why did you burn? Did you say it was lore and something else?
I said it was lore and time. I just think it was it's such a dense world. It's a heavy world. And like you said, it all ties back to lore because everything connects to something. Everything connects in some way to the Skywalkers. There's so many Easter eggs that you have to look for. It's a lot, and it's, again, very, very dense. It's Star Wars. It's literally about war, and sometimes with the way that the world is right fucking now,
it's a lot.
It's a lot to handle, and it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that's also fair.
If we were still doing Jim Henson, I don't think I would feel that burnout.
Well, I mean, that's also not interconnected like this.
Fair.
You could take it at your own pace.
Fair.
Because, again, you didn't finish all of The Muppet Show. You didn't finish all of Muppets Tonight.
I want to.
You want to. You didn't finish all of Fraggle Rock, but you got enough of the world and lore where you understood it. There's no Easter eggs that make you... Like, there's some returning stuff, obviously. Like, Cantus returns a couple times in the original, but it didn't make you feel like you had to pay attention to everything. Like, I could literally, like, pick out an episode out of those 5 seasons. I could pick a random one out of my ass and be like, go watch this and have fun with it. And you'd get the gist, you know? Mm-hmm. It's a world that is alive and well, and if it adds stuff, it's usually a one-off thing. That you get more world building, sure, but it's not like they're gonna time you or write you in on the homework for it, you know? The fans aren't gonna picket and riot if you forget something compared to, like, Star Wars, which gives me to my next question. Is it the TV shows, or is it in general? Because I feel like TV shows with this podcast, like, we have been struggling very hard. The two things that we did for the stuff, we did very specific, like, themes, but also their shows have a lot of episodes. That is, like, wild, you know?
Yeah.
So, would it be easier if it was just movies?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Because TV or movies, I can sit down, I can block off a day for and just sit in front of a TV screen for 10 hours max, and I'd be okay with that. TV shows obviously take a little longer. I mean, some of the TV shows that we have watched for this have been shorter, so I could finish them in a day.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, the days that I block off, I end up going to hang out with my sister. My sister does my nails, so we do little, like, nail dates, or we end up, like, going out and about, and I feel like that takes up a lot of my time. So, like, the days that I normally block off, and she's not really interested in any of the shows that we have blocked off, so it's not like I can just put those on in the background.
That was gonna be my big point, that someone in the comments or watching would be like, well, why don't you just do it when you with this?
Yeah, my sister wouldn't necessarily be interested. I mean, she'd put it on if I asked, because that's just my sister, but most of the time when she's doing my nails, I'm facing away from the TV, so I'm not really paying attention anyway, and whatever we put on, if we do put on a movie, it's just something for background noise while we sit and chit-chat and catch up, so it's not anything that I'm actually going to need to pay attention to.
So at the end of the day, this is a work-life balance thing.
Yeah, and
because let's be honest, this is work for us. Like, it's fun work, but it's work.
I think that's exactly what it is. So what I've been doing, and I think this is what I need to get better at doing, like blocking off days for. What I've been doing lately is they're called TV sprints.
Okay.
So something that like will probably help me create more of a balance with, because at the end of the day it's work, but it's also a hobby.
Yeah.
Something that will help me balance some of my hobbies is doing TV sprints where you put on an episode or two, depending on obviously the length of the episodes and how fast you want to get through them.
I mean, yeah, some of these shows are hour long almost in some cases. That also doesn't help.
Yeah.
Is that since shorter series, bigger episodes, which, I agree with Kim to a regard where I don't feel like TV shows should sit there for an hour, and if they do, they better be worth it. And I don't think a lot of the shows we've watched have earned it completely through.
Binky's here next to you.
Oh, hi, Binky Boo. Continue your TV sprint, please.
But
I just thought of that.
after the episode, I will then spend. I pick like 30 pages, but depending on how long the episode, it's either like 20 to 30 pages because I'm a slow reader, and I'll read my book, and that helps me be able to kind of balance both and still get things read because I need to read those for my channel, and be able to also watch things. So it definitely helps me balance the two, and so I'm not focused and brain rotting on one thing for too long.
Yeah.
Those really help me.
Oh, yeah.
I just need to make time to do them more.
So, I guess this is for all of the people out there wanting to start a podcast like this, or are already doing it on the same length of content that we do, where it's 2 episodes a week. Do you ever feel like we should scale back for some of these themes, or do you think splitting them into chunks and separating them is a good idea? Because some of these we could spend 2-3 months on if we did like an episode a week type of thing.
I know. I like what we're doing right now. I do see how it could get tricky later on.
Yeah.
Which will adjust if we need to. This is still such a new podcast. We're still exploring all new ideas. I personally, and I don't know if you agree with me, I personally think what we're doing right now works for us.
I do.
And I think it's doing really, really well. It's just I need to make better time choices and not just sit there and stare at my phone. One of the things that I really want to get better at is doom scrolling. I don't want to doom scroll anymore. If I have the time, I would rather be doing something productive, and whether that is watching or reading or just doing something that I love to do that's not mindlessly scrolling on my phone for hours. I think that also contributes to burnout.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair as well, unfortunately. But do you regret this podcast in some? Do you think a year from now we're going to regret this podcast? Because we have we haven't gone over the entire wheel, but we have themes that go harder than Star Wars. I mean, DC, Marvel, like, there's a lot of timelines and a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows, and we have just entered a reboot through James Gunn that is starting now, that has its own TV shows and movies as it is, that is going to get even wilder. Like, we would have to start being specific at that point and sticking to specific timelines. Like Marvel especially. There's a shit ton of Marvel. Like post or during and before the MCU that you have not watched. And even then, there's some like animated stuff that they consider their own thing separate from the MCU that has gone on or has been a part of it during the early MCU. Like Superhero Squad and the early shows. There's a lot of shit out there. So like, do you, like, I guess this is a big question for anyone else that wants to listen and hear their story if they're going through media burnout, because this is also an important thing. Do you feel like you have to split off certain things as a newcomer now? Like, I know this shit like the back of my hand, but this is at the end of the day your idea of like catching up and playing catch-up corner. It's in the fucking name. Do you feel like you have to cut things up for playing catch-up, or we're gonna have to reevaluate topics like Star Wars, or what do you think?
I think there are some topics that we might, like, we definitely could create a whole season of just talking about this one topic. I personally am really excited to explore those, though.
That's horrifying, though.
I know.
That's
I'm
not including
scared.
crossovers. Like,
I know. I mean, we might have to look at the wheel.
That's not including crossovers of other media that we have.
I know.
Like Batman and TMNT.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's tough. It's
a
scary.
lot.
We're never going to be able to catch up on every single thing. But I I'm not mad about creating this podcast.
Okay.
I'm excited to see where this goes. We're only in the technically third month.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many amazing ideas, so many fun guests that are coming on that I am so beyond excited for. I don't regret this podcast for a second.
Yeah.
I know it's only the third month and I am feeling a little burnt out of our Star Wars theme.
Yeah.
But that's not, again, it doesn't reflect badly on Star Wars. It's just the way I think it's the lore and the way that it's tying into the real world right now.
Yeah. Do you also
that definitely weighs heavy.
Do you also think the bad parts, watching so many bad parts in a row in some cases, contributed? I mean, that sequel trilogy, you're a newer fan, and you're already here saying like you're a seasoned fan. That's not my trilogy. You're looking at The Acolyte and you're like, nah, I wouldn't watch that again. Do you think that also contributed as well, having to sit through like hours of bad media? Because that is inevitable with any topic. You're going to encounter shit no matter what. I mean, even Jim Henson or the Jim Henson Company has had their hiccups, as we saw with post-mortem, like, Jim Henson stuff, with the AI stuff with Sesame Street, and, wow, I'm blanking on that movie, and I don't even care about Mirror Mask, yes. So, do you think the bad media also played a part, and how big of the pie did it play a part in your burnout?
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right, because Acolyte we were really disappointed in.
Yeah.
The Star Wars sequel trilogy we were super disappointed in.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was just dreading watching Andor, and I knew people said that that one was good, but I was just did not want to watch it. Did not want to continue on in the Star Wars universe at that point. Like, I am more like, I have started Andor since then, just haven't finished it, and I am much more excited to get back into the world.
Yeah, I told her this is great.
Just at this point, we're not going to catch up enough to continue on with Clone Wars after this.
Oh, yeah. Like, she's been trying so hard to watch Clone War episodes, but again, it's a lot. There's a shit ton.
It's also a lot because I'm trying to watch the 137 episodes of Clone Wars while also watching episodes of everything else.
Now, to keep reference as well, Clone Wars are like 20-something minute episodes. Not including commercials, obviously, back when they aired, so they'd have half an hour, 45-minute slots, typically. Andor, Obi-Wan, Acolyte ranged from 30 to an hour most of the time. They really are long, in retrospect. They're almost the length of a Star Wars... They're half the length of a Star Wars movie in some cases. There's a lot to unpack, but again, back to the question, how much do you think the bad media made you burn out faster? Like,
very. I think, yeah. I think it's... When you go from movies that are so iconic to media that fucking sucks, it definitely drains it out of you.
Yeah, it makes you not excited, right?
Yeah.
Especially because all of the media that sucks right now, for the most part, other than droids, is from the Disney era, like the Disney Plus era. A lot of it feels like you have to do your homework. And this is like a thing I feel like the MCU has really hammered home, but it's been going on for ages, but nobody's talked about it bravely enough until the MCU really started to do it with the multiverse stuff. Everything has to connect to something too much. And if it is connected, it just like, it does the entire season. Not like a last minute big reveal for those that care. You know what I mean? Like, this has to be built throughout the season. Or in the case of like a surprise twist, like, wow, they appeared, they play too big of a story. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, do you feel that with this?
Yeah.
I mean, Disney especially. I mean, how do you feel about this Disney era? Because I feel like a lot of media now is starting to hit that point, especially when they're under the iron grip fist, and I'm going to stop there before I say anything that's going to get me canceled about Disney off the internet in regards to vulgarity. I feel like the Disney era of Star Wars, I know we're talking about, like, you're getting a better appreciation for media and understanding it, and I'm proud of you for it, but with the bad media, shut the fuck up out there. Burn out your tires a little less, speaking of burnout.
Why you're yelling at people.
I don't know if that mic even picked it up, but, like, do you feel like... I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, watching this stuff, because you watch so much Star Wars stuff back to back. Mm-hmm. I feel like you're noticing the tropes and pitfalls that Disney, whoever they hire, refuses to fix. Kathleen in charge, and now Dave Filoni and someone else I think are going to step in her place. Do you feel like it's just an era thing as well, where the wrong hands are taking care of these shows, and are being trusted with it?
I think it goes back to the conversation that we had about after Jim Henson's passing.
Yeah.
If the people that he trusted to continue his legacy were not working on the projects, then the projects did not have success.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of the same thing here. And I feel like we can see a common theme in both of these projects, and that is Disney took over.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the production, and the media that they were producing after they took over did not live up to before they took over.
It's the wrong ideas. They're taking the wrong things away from it, you know?
And it all comes down to, I think, collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
If you were not working on the series from the beginning, or you're not talking and contributing and collaborating with people that were working on these projects in the past, then you're not going to get the same fan reaction.
I mean, Obi-Wan was Ewan McGregor was Obi-Wan was the executive producer for it, and obviously he starred in it. I feel like he had a bigger role than people let on in regards to handling the script and handling how Obi-Wan was. And that was a pretty damn good show that stands out in the Disney era. There are some highlights like Andor and Obi-Wan, but across the board, it's just slipping so bad. And you bring up a good point about the Muppets, and now they were waiting for the new Muppet Show with Matt Vogel as the voice of Kermit. And I'm sorry, it still doesn't hit right hearing the trailer. I'm excited for the backdoor pilot, and I encourage everyone to watch it because it does look good. And Sabrina Carpenter and Seth Rogen are great to have as your first stars, especially with Seth Rogen executive producing. They're great to have, but if this doesn't succeed in anything, it's just going to be back to, we're not going to get any lessons. Disney's going to be like, well, no one cares. See you later. And it's the same with Star Wars, where it's like everything's doing well, where they're like, well, we don't care. We're making money off this. So and like a lot of these collaborators say they're big fans and grew up watching this stuff. But how many times do you think they, let's call it what it is, input their own fan fiction version of how they would be in Star Wars into their productions?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How much, I hate to say it, and I this is not a complete diss of all the projects, but like, if it's not bastardizing the lore of the legends, it's putting a fan fiction into your own world. Like, do you feel that in some cases?
Yeah, I definitely do. I just think there are some character decisions and just some like world building mistakes that are being made that we did not see before.
Yeah.
And it's really like one of the things that I love about the Star Wars universe is how diverse and vast the worlds are, and I don't feel like we've seen that a lot in the last couple of TV
Desert,
shows.
jungle, Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, it's Star Wars. It's literally, there are so many planets. There are so many planets that have yet to be discovered as well. Like, you can do so much more. There are so many different biomes.
And if you're going to do the jungle 50 times, you're going to make the wildlife different. Like, I get it. Star Wars, the original trilogy, was no different. Tatooine, Hoth, all that. But the wildlife and the people around it made it what it is. So, they built a world off these basic biomes. And you don't get that here. I mean, fucking the Wookiee Jedi, I forget his name, an Acolyte. I say it with my whole chest. He went to Cancun. I hate to say it, but he was at home in this fucking jungle forest shit, okay? You might as well have said, you went back to home to Kashyyyk, and I wouldn't have blinked a fucking eye, honest to God. That's just me, though. But I guess back to, in general, the burnout of all this. So, obviously, we're giving our input of burnout, and maybe someone out there is like, oh my God, me too. Is there any advice or about how you're feeling about the burnout or what you're going to do to try to work the burnout that may give advice that help other creators like this? Because obviously, media consumption, like when you're going on the internet, you're going to talk about media to some degree, and especially with us being so media heavy and you being a newcomer to this, there's a lot of people that are going to do. I mean, the Avatar stars, Dante Bosco, and I forget her name, but she's really good, the voice of Korra, literally go an episode each, talking about each separate episode of Avatar and Korra. Like, there's a lot of media podcasts out there, and obviously it's hard to stand out. Quality, though, always reigns over quantity, and I would say our quality is pretty good, in my humble opinion, for once. But is there any advice you can give? Because I know you're feeling the burn now, but it's not gonna last like this forever. And honestly, the fact it's lasted this long is good. What advice can you give to other creators or people just burnt out on media in general?
Okay, so my thing that I would like to do more of is the TV sprints that I mentioned. As far as like media burnout, the most that I've really experienced is reading slumps.
Yeah.
Which are definitely a form of media burnout. It's when you really, if you don't know what it is, it's like when you just don't want to read anything, or like whether you've just like got in over reading a really good book and like you don't think anything will compare, or you just feel like every time like you're picking up a book it's just not turning out in your favor,
or it's for work specifically because you have to do
yes.
something.
Yeah, it just, so you just don't want to read. I've experienced those so many times and it makes me really, really sad. Usually what I like to do is just take a step away for a little bit. I know like not everybody can do that because some people do watch media, consume media as like a job. But like just doing something different that will still like kind of get your creative energy flowing while not making it feel like work. Just taking a little bit of a break. There's nothing wrong with taking breaks as long as you plan on coming back to it.
Which is tough because that's my next point, especially for Star Wars. If you're going to do a podcast on this, you got to make sure you remember everything. If you're doing a lore-heavy universe especially, because if you take breaks, it's not like, Okay, this is an example I'm going to give. Because I don't know if you felt burnout with this series. Fairy Tail. We watched 200-something episodes in the span of 2 years, I want to say. Did you feel burnout with that?
Did.
Really?
I did. It wasn't... I mean, it was just a lot of episodes. Which, like, isn't a bad thing. Like, I loved the series the whole time. There were just times that I just didn't feel like watching. You know what? No. I don't think that I necessarily felt burnout with the show. I think there were just times that I just didn't feel like watching something new, which is the whole point of this podcast.
Which balances out the work-life balance thing. But, like, I'm going to use this as an example because we watched that in 2 years, and there were some sprints even now, because there's a sequel series that you haven't caught up on. And that's because they haven't announced a second season yet. But the manga's still going. A new chapter just released today, by the way, Tuesday, and shit just got fucking real. So bad. And I can't tell her about it because she is not reading the manga.
I need to read the manga, I know.
And, like, I'm talking to you about some points, obviously, and you're already going, who? What? Like, at what point does a break become too long?
I know. I want to go back and rewatch that series at some point.
But it's also daunting because it's so much.
But it is daunting because it's so much. But it is nice to be back with that world. And at this point, I already know where everything goes, so I don't necessarily have that anxiety up until I start catching up with the manga.
Well, she's still going to have anxiety reliving past trauma, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
But, I mean, it's not far off from Star Wars and everything else. Like, how much do you think you're going to remember by the time we circle back to this in May? That's the issue here. Like, how long is too much of a break?
I think I'll be fine. I mean, I have my notes. It's not like I immediately throw away all of our notes and everything.
Which then brings up my next counterpoint that I want you to talk about and I guess give advice on. When you come back to something, at what point does it become a chore? Because you have all these notes, but now you're playing catch up when you feel like you shouldn't. At what point would it become a chore if it does for you? And how the hell are you going to counter it? Because inevitably with something like this, like, we are going to encounter it where it's a chore for you if you have to keep referencing your notes and you're not going to have fun. I want to know your thoughts.
If it, honestly, not to be this person, but if it gets to the point that this podcast feels more like a chore than having fun, then I think we're going to go on at least a hiatus.
Okay, no, I'm not just talking about the podcast anymore. I'm talking about media consumption in general. For example, Marvel. You've been out of the Marvel game for a while. You've watched some projects, but there are some interconnecting dots that you haven't watched beforehand that are leading up to Doomsday. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, etc., etc. You've seen Thunderbolts and a Fantastic Four First Steps, and you haven't seen anything past, I want to say, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which isn't too much, thankfully, but there's still a lot, including TV shows.
Yeah.
And if you forget certain people and pieces, which I know you probably have, you're going to have to backtrack a shit ton of things. Now it becomes talking about media consumption, no longer the podcast. At what point does it become a chore? And do you throw in the towel and say, enough is enough, I don't care anymore? Do you take it even slower, which then makes it harder for you and frustrates you more? Like, how are you, as a person that consumes media, in a time where people are trying so hard to make things so interconnected and everywhere all at once, how are you going to combat that? Or are you just going to throw in the towel and just stay on your island? And this is for all the audience members out there that probably feel the same. Because I think a lot of people feel like you do, probably, to some regard. Or feel like what I just talked about to some regard. What is your advice? Would you throw... Or are you just going to throw in the towel and say, I give up?
Honestly, I've thought about it with the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
But there are so many really interesting and good stories that it does make you want to continue. I think it's kind of the same thing, kind of the same situation as Star Wars, is that I watched so many Marvel movies in a row and Marvel TV shows in a row. But
not all of them good.
Not all of them were good.
At
so
all.
I just kind of put it down for a little while and have not picked it up since. But I'm also hoping that with this podcast, like, it's giving me an excuse to. Like, the reason that I pick up a lot of the books that I pick up is so I can go on my channel and talk about them and discuss them. And that is why I was looking for a media outlet or a source to put out all of my thoughts on these movies and TV shows. And that's where this podcast comes in.
Okay,
So I'm hoping that this podcast is my reason to go back.
Okay,
into the
what
world
about the
and keep
people
going.
that don't have an outlet like this, that just want to consume media and try to get into something their friends or their partner or they are finally interested on, they bite the bullet on? Because at one point you were like that too before this podcast, of a bunch of media that I started thrusting at you. And I know you definitely felt that challenge of trying to balance it all. So what about that? What about the people that don't want to do a podcast, that don't want to do it? What can you say as a person that just wants to consume media and doesn't have that outlet and feels that pressure?
I'm sorry that you feel that pressure. I don't really know what advice to give you, though. If you don't want to watch it, if you feel like it's too much, media is not about accomplishing a goal. It shouldn't be about accomplishing a goal. I feel like this whole thing with the MCU, with Disney especially, is trying to create this narrative where everything needs to be connected and you need to watch this. Like, it's a money-hungry scheme. You don't need to fall for it.
I mean, it's not even just a money-hungry scheme. This is interconnected lore.
Right, but it's to get you to spend money.
But it's based off previous stories with interconnected lore. It's just how they present said lore, though.
Whatever.
I'm right!
You are right, but I'm also saying they're doing it with the purpose of making you watch all of their stuff before so that you spend money to go out to movies and buy DVDs and all of this stuff so that you can continue on with the lore. You don't have to do that. If that is not something you're interested in, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that is not what media is about. Media is a place to listen to stories and to tell your own stories and to just be inspired and have fun. You should in no way, at least in my opinion, feel the pressure to keep up with it.
Okay, but...
the bottom line, media should be about storytelling and fun.
Okay, but what about the interconnected lore? What about, like, methods? There has to be some methods that you can give, you know? Because there is a lot of interconnected lore, and it is a money-hungry scheme when you look at stuff like Disney for sure, but there are genuine things of interconnected lore that are passion projects that I feel like it's a disrespect to them to group them in the same group as something like Disney, you know what I mean? Fair. So, I mean... It's a tough thing to balance, you know. When does interconnected lore and adapting lore stories into media, when does it become money hungry? When does it become a passion project that just has a lot of lore? What can you give as, like, methods, like, in your mind, as someone that just consumes media? Because I feel like there's something in there that gets it, you know, that gets that pressure.
Me personally, when I first started out on my media journey, way before this podcast was even a thought, I like to write down lists. I came up with lists of, like, any media form in any universe that I liked, that I wanted to watch. And, like, I'm a person that, like, I'm a visual person, so I like seeing my progress. So that worked for me. As far as any other methods, I don't know if I really have any.
Okay, anything at all. There has to be something. Like,
you say there has to be something. I don't see you offering anything.
Well, I'm the one offering you, because as someone like me, I could sit there and fucking indulge every day. Like, I would love to get paid to do this shit. I have not experienced the burnout yet. I just get disappointed by something and then go on to the next thing as if it didn't happen. You know? I would love to get paid for this shit. I am trying to get paid for this shit. Absolutely trying to get paid for this shit. I'm trying to get paid to make this shit.
I know, but I can only say what I do. I can't say.
So what about the sprints? Go back to the sprints. How can you balance that as someone that wants to consume media?
I mean, I already explained what I did. I watched an episode or two of Andor, and then read 30 pages of my book.
Okay, so adapt that outside the fucking book. What would you? How do you adapt it into like a sprint in a regular life?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
What? That is like.
You're a disaster.
No, you're just asking me a difficult question, because I don't know how you adapt that into real world. I mean, it works with TV shows. I can't say it works for movies.
It works for media in general, I feel like. You just gotta find that balance. Like, you gotta find a way to, not with a book, but just in life in general. There has to be some way that as someone like you, a normal ne'er-do-well who is getting into media, like, there has to be something that you can think about. Because before this podcast, like you said, you were just trying to catch up on media. But you did balance it well for a while. It's just, what else did you do, if there was anything?
I mean, I just made time. I just sat down and watched a couple of movies.
How did you making time not become a chore, though?
It didn't, because I wanted to watch these movies.
Well,
once it got to a point that I just didn't want to watch them anymore, I didn't. I took a break.
Okay, there we go. That's easy enough.
And again, that's me. That's how my brain was working. It got to a point where I kept hearing, I think I'm at Black Widow. I got to a point where I kept hearing bad things about Black Widow. I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue at that moment. I let it go.
Okay, so you let other people persuade you.
You, actually.
Oh.
You're the one that kept saying, you don't need to watch that. Stop watching it. You don't need to watch it. You can skip right by it. But I didn't want to move on without watching it.
I mean, to be fair, I was completely wrong considering Thunderbolts, so whoopsies. That, in hindsight, was not the best, and I should have known better. But also, that's another good point. Other people's opinions dissuading you from continuing on. Because it doesn't get better in their opinion, or it isn't worth it, or that. When do you start listening to other people?
When do I start or stop?
When do you start both? Let's go with both. Let's really push you here. When do you start letting other people persuade how you consume media? And when do you stop if you have already started?
I try not to let other people, me personally, again, this whole thing is my opinions. I try not to let other people persuade or dissuade me. The only time I really look at reviews on anything is A, for this podcast, if I'm wanting to talk about engagement. B is if I am watching or reading something and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it, but I want to see if how I feel about it, other people have put into words, so it can kind of point me in the right direction of what to say when I'm reviewing. But I try not to, in general, look at opinions because I want to form my own opinion.
Okay. So, have you ever once felt like people dissuaded you from doing something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, what advice can you give then, possibly, for someone that feels like they're being dissuaded?
I was still talking.
Sorry.
The only time I think I've ever let people dissuade me from something is if I hear that the creator, author, or director, or whatever, is a terrible person.
Yeah. At
that point, yes, I'll listen. As far as... Sorry, what was your question?
Stopping.
As far as stopping...
Listening to people.
Yeah, I just try not to listen to people
general. That is such a lame piece of advice that is not thought-provoking. Oh my goodness.
Just turn off the fucking comments.
Our Spotify ranking has dropped We're behind
Gosh.
Ben
Stop
Shapiro.
asking me questions I can't answer if you're not going to provide information.
What are you talking about?
Are you going to provide suggestions?
Fucking, I don't have this issue. I love media. I bend over for media. What do you fucking want me to say? Get the fucking lightsaber out of your mouth?
I'm gonna fucking shove that lightsaber
Stop
up
rolling
your
the
ass.
D20. Stop fucking consuming media.
Your
Listen,
hiney.
I don't like the MCU's decisions at times, but I'm still hype as fuck now that I watched everything because I knew hopefully one day it could get better, and even then, I like talking about stuff. Okay, I can't shut the fuck up. I've never had this issue. I've never had a big concern with burnout, even with the bad shit, because I always wanted to talk about something. And honestly, I like talking about stuff because people on the internet are fucking toxic. And I like seeing toxic people's opinions and chuckling to myself and going, I wouldn't have said it like that, but okay. And then just going about my day. I don't let people persuade me when it comes to media unless it's dog shit bad, unless someone is pro-Israel, or unless it's someone quite literally is, the World War II German soldier. I don't, let people dissuade me at all. I like to, if I'm going to watch something, I'm going to watch it. If it's bad or you don't want me to watch it, suck my dick. I'll watch it, and if I think it's bad and you go, I told you so, I'll go, okay, well, here's why I also don't like it. Because media discussion is so fucking lame now. I hate to say it. Letterbox, you can't go 5 seconds on Letterbox, and I hate to be that person, without most sentences or most reviews being something along the lines of 5 stars. Jennifer Coolidge could sit on me while talking like the villager. You can't go 5 seconds with that. I'm trying to bring back media literacy. I'm trying to bring back long-term critical thinking, because our current president, our current regime, I'm going to call it that, our current world, our current social climate is trying to make lore and make it so condensed, so brain rot, so dead-filled that there's no critical thinking. It's just Ant-Man bad. There's no critical... The Stranger Things conversation has ruined my life. Okay? The Stranger Things conversation has ruined my life. Because, I get it why you're disappointed, but also, goddamn, why are we gaslighting ourselves into the secret episode that could be a vision by Vecna? I like the theories, but the fact that it's a do-or-die situation on a finale for people, if this hypothetical does or doesn't exist, is crazy wild to me. Yeah.
But you just said all that, but, I also feel the same way. I don't let people persuade me or dissuade me.
You just said I dissuaded you on Black Widow!
Well, you were the driving force.
Oh, I was the hammer.
You were the hammer.
And you were the nail. Sorry, please continue. I'm
but,
sorry.
For the most part, I watch what I want to watch.
Yeah,
so
true.
my advice isn't going to work for every single person. These are just things that I try to do that work for me.
Okay. I figured there was a general sense that you could apply to reading to here, but, I guess not. Because you burnt down on reading a lot, too, because it felt like a chore because of the channel.
Yeah, other than just stopping and just doing some mindless activities. But not everybody has that option to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's nothing wrong with taking breaks, letting yourself relax. Because mental health comes before anything.
Yeah, media should not burn you out mentally and make you ruin your life.
No, media shouldn't burn you out.
I want to say that to the fanboys that let it run their life. To get out of the way for a second. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get real close. Stop letting media consume you. Anyways, I'm gonna let that go now. You might have to lower the volume for that specifically.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, cool.
They can suffer.
I am so sorry.
Guys.
Sorry, guys. No, I'm not sorry, actually. So I'm gonna say that to the fanboys and the ne'er-do-wells specifically. But, okay, cool. Okay. Yeah.
Do you have any other questions for me?
Okay, so what now? What happens now? You've acknowledged the burnout, and you're hoping it doesn't happen again in May, but what if it does? Where do you go? What do we do? Do we drop the subject immediately? Do you force yourself through it for the month? Do you quit? Do you cry? Do you sniffle? Do you crawl and hide in the corner while Darth Vader tries to execute you like a youngling? What do you do?
I have not gotten to the point where I'm gonna cry
Okay,
over
I'm talking
media
hypothetical
burnout.
for like hypothetical for like the Star Wars stuff, which could apply to any other thing that we have to split into two-parters. What do you do if that burnout comes back? What are you gonna do?
I think for May, I mean, we're at the point where we're lucky enough to not be paid to do this.
Yeah.
So we really don't have any obligations to post.
That's also a tough one. A lot of people get paid for this stuff,
Yeah.
but like can't. They need to pay the bills, so it's not easy.
There's a reason we have not posted our schedule anywhere either. We are going, like, at this point, we are letting ourselves adapt as needed. This is a off-the-cuff surprise episode. We did not plan for this. We are also a couple who are able to adapt. Like, we don't need every episode to be posted exactly the day that it's supposed to.
What?
Why are you laughing?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I have a
Why?
horrible mind. I'm sorry. Adapt indeed. Am I right, ladies? Dap me up, brother.
Jesus Christ.
Please continue.
We're just content creators who are able to adapt with our schedule. We don't have anything set in stone. We can talk it out, plan something different. Like, there's a reason we don't post our schedule, because we don't want you looking at it and think, hey, you were supposed to do that on that date, and we were like, no,
Yeah.
you didn't see that.
I mean, even when we say what the next episode is, we backtrack.
Exactly.
It happens.
We
also are bound to get sick and maybe die. Life is weird and twisted, and anything can change at any moment. So we're just riding it wherever we can.
Why you gotta make it dark?
But it's true. It's realistic.
Why you gotta make it dark? Give me my
It's
drink.
realistic. I'm just saying, anything can happen.
If you just believe.
Oh my goodness. Anything else you want to say to the people suffering media burnout, or any similar creators suffering the same thing you are that may want to try to tackle things differently or take a break like we are?
Well, actually, I'm going to give you the spotlight for a minute.
Oh.
Because you might not have experienced media burnout, but since we're talking to content creators as well, you have definitely experienced content creator burnout.
I gotta go. There's a game of NHL that is currently being played by me.
I'm taking the TV at 10, by the way.
Fuck! I'm playing as the LA Kings. I'm facing Detroit.
Get your bum back over here.
It's 3-0 going into the third period.
No, get your ass on
Gabe
this
Landeskog needs to score, and before anyone asks, yes, I did trade for Gabriel Landeskog, and all I gave up on a hard trade difficulty was a bunch of prospects. Suck my wiener. For all of you that gave up Anjay Kopitar.
in this chair.
All right, I'm coming.
And talk about content burnout.
Okay. Hi, Max.
We've definitely both
Experienced content creator burnout.
Content creator burnout.
Okay, mine is different though. Mine is absolutely different, and I'm willing to acknowledge that. Okay, am I talking about my channel finally? Am I talking about my tendencies and my ill mental health? Okay, cool.
So one of the links that I always leave down in the description box is Benson's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Which you may have noticed has not been uploaded to in a little while.
Okay, wait, that's not true. Give me some credit. Wait a minute, let me go over the timeline. 2 years ago, I posted a review of Ollie World. And then afterwards, there has not been a formal review. Last year, a year at this point, as of December, I posted a year late the top games of 2023. Still did well. I planned top games of 2024 a month later. Has not happened. And here I am now. No proper review in 2 years. No proper video in a year almost that's scripted. And the only video I had was a reaction to the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct and my thoughts on the initial reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2, including things like Donkey Kong Bonanza. So that's my proper fucking timeline. Continue your thought process.
So, how have you been trying to deal with creator burnout?
I stuff it down deep in the pit of my esophagus, and I take a magnesium gummy, I go to bed, and then I become a cog in the corporate machine.
So you don't, is what you're doing.
Okay, wait, in all seriousness, yes and no. Yes and no. I force myself. It's not healthy, but I force myself sometimes. But because then the rest of the time I'm staring at the abyss, and I can't do that anymore. I'm 28 years old. I got 2 jobs. I have a lot of commitments. I am an ambassador for a charity, and I stream and all this other shit. I cannot stare into the abyss anymore. I'm too old for that. I am too dog deep in a bunch of other shit. I can't. So, I don't know. I don't have the biggest healthy coping mechanisms because I am not entirely a self-healthy person. Because I essentially, in some ways, have given up on my dreams. I have, I've many times, I'll admit it, even though I never would admit it, I've quit or wanted to quit, and then I've given up on my dreams because, every time I put myself out there or every time I try to do something, it never works out. Nothing works my way. I typically get ghosted, except for this last film festival I judged for, that company has always treated me so well, and they've never ghosted me. So there's that, but it's just tough with how many projects they have. I don't deal with things a lot healthily. I usually shove it down sometimes, and I am the biggest hippotate in the world when it comes to that. And I am trying not to anymore. But don't touch me with your sympathy.
I was trying to show love.
It's okay.
We're supposed to be a couple on this podcast. They don't know we're faking it yet.
We're fucking it?
Faking it.
Fucking?
No.
Oh. I thought this was YouTube. You didn't tell me it was book talk.
God, Jacob.
Shit. I'm sorry. I got the wrong fucking memo. Anyways, I've quit. I've wanted to. It's not the healthiest thing, especially when I keep saying I'm going to rely on my team more, and then you get the guilt of not reaching out to your team because they're so busy with all their stuff, and then add a podcast onto their stuff. So,
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I've realized as a creator, I am a behind-the-scenes supporter more than I am a front person.
This is literally your podcast, too.
Listen. I'm not saying, what was I going to say? I'm not saying I have the healthiest habits as a creator and as a film person. I've been trying to get into this industry since I was a kid. I had a YouTube channel when I was a kid. I quit. Then I came back because of the pandemic because my original stuff and being right there at the finish line got shut down because of COVID. So my sort of journey is a little bit special in that regard because I got bent over by COVID. I had an original thing. It was at the finish line. Never, ever seen again. And I graduated college. That's the story. And here I am now. I'll admit it. I've come close to quitting it many times. I guess on the creator side of things and not the media side of things, I don't know. This is also a new podcast for me. I'm used to picking and choosing what I want to talk about. And then if it doesn't work out, I usually just burrow myself through it. But you can't do that because that's not healthy. That makes you not love it as much. And you should love it. It should not feel like a job. That's what I always say about life. It shouldn't feel like a job. And that's why I want to get into entertainment and not stay at the place I'm at. Because, that's an actual job. It's a headache and a half. Yeah, entertainment would be a job, but there's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things to make it successful. But I'd be learning and being happy about it. Would everything be a hit? No shit. Do I guarantee even one thing would be a hit? Absolutely not. But at least I'm having fun doing it, and until I no longer want to do it anymore, I want to do it. I love this silly thing called media, and it's unhealthy me to force myself sometimes, but you live and learn. That's why I've been through 2 therapists as it is. Pending third. I still have to look for one. But that's just life, That's the tough part about life is, there are some unhealthy habits you can't break. I am very lucky my unhealthy habit is just forcing myself to do things. And it's easier said than done to break compared to a lot of very dangerous unhealthy habits. But I consider myself, I guess, privileged in that regard that that's one of the only unhealthy habits that I have as a person right now. Other than going away for so long and wrapping myself in work. Like, that's my other unhealthy habit, is being a workaholic. But I digress. I'm trying not to force myself to do things. And if I need to do something, then I try to give myself a break. But at that point, that's why it also goes back to your stuff. When does it become too much of a break where you forget what you were doing it for in the first place, or the enjoyment of watching or doing something? And I guess my only advice for you is, as creators out there, is just do it. And if you do need help, if it does become a chore, then maybe it's also because the project is too much and you got to scale back. Maybe the quantity of your project is too much and you got to step back. Or maybe you don't love it as much because you don't love other parts of your life as much. Like, I'm going to say it out there, and I know my coworkers might watch this in some degree. I'm just going to say it. It's not a hidden thing. I fucking hate my job. I'm going to say it. One of my jobs. The refereeing thing, I love it. If I could do that and get a sustainable pay without having to go away for 2 months over the summer, I would. I get paid $20 an hour, and for 2 days a week, on a bi-weekly paycheck, I get like $400-$300, and that's without playoffs, where some things go into overtime and some things get behind. If I could live off of that, I could, but it's not a reality. And my main job pays me a good amount now. I don't like my job. I like the people I work with. I do not like it. I hate corporation greed. I hate capitalism. And it's not fun being a part of this. Like, I always make the capitalism jokes, but I truly am. I fucking hate capitalism. I hate the company I work for. They are the living embodiment of capitalistic greed, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, setting more boundaries with that has helped me out a little bit. Like, yeah, I'm not perfect with boundaries, but I'm getting better, and I am a healthier person for it. And as such, I found a renewed love for what I love to do. I finished my first script in 2 years, and I'm working on it, and it's great. I was supposed to record today, but we went to the grocery store and did this podcast instead.
I'm so sorry.
But that's okay. That's another thing. I'm going to give advice to for content creators. Shit happens. Do you know how many streams I've canceled without telling people? Or how many streams I have canceled with telling people? Or how many videos have been postponed in regards to filming? It's because things happen. We're all adults, I would like to think. And even if you're like a teenager starting out in the content creator sphere, or a middle schooler in my case, life happens. You got school. You got social life. It's like media consumption. You can't let it overtake you.
You can still record tomorrow.
You can't. That's beside the point. You can't let anything overtake you. You can't let one part of your life consume you more than the other. You got to keep going. You got to find that balance. You have to, find that equilibrium. And sometimes that's enjoying life in the little things. Listen, I'm a dark and gloomy writing motherfucker, but there has been something about the way I write lately, or think about writing stuff lately, that gives me, a Studio Ghibli type of Miyazaki type of hope, despite despair, okay? Or, a Godzilla -1 hope in the despair. Yeah, the world sucks, but damn if the indomitable human spirit ain't fucking beautiful. That's where I'm at in life right now. And I find that by taking walks, letting my hyperfixations consume me sometimes on my walks, and listening to specific music and getting ideas to sprout from that. And sometimes revisiting old media to prepare for the new as a comfort thing is a good thing too. I don't know. As a content creator, especially a media content creator with a different thing where a lot of it is scripted, and I also implement my silly little own lore in there that people eat for some reason, it's tough to give the best advice because content creation, much like media and your issue, is such a wide sphere. But the best I can give to an overarching content creating sphere, as someone that literally it's going to be 5 years in March, that is just finally, hopefully going to cross the 500 follower threshold on Twitch and maybe the 300 follower subscriber base on YouTube after 6 years as of this upcoming June. The best I can give is find time for the little things, and also appreciate the little parts of your script writing and your process, because that's what makes it great. That's what makes media great, and that's what makes media consumption great. Sometimes you get lost in the general scope of things, and you don't get to appreciate the specifics. And getting to appreciate the specifics has made me appreciate life a lot more. Yeah, give me 5. Anyway. For those that are listening, you're not watching. She's had her hand out for the last minute, and I just went, yeah, give me 5. Instead of holding it, I'm a fucking dumbass. Stupid. Anyways, in all seriousness, don't laugh. I'm being serious with the audience for a second. Find time for the small things, because it's a fast-paced world. Media consumption is very fast-paced now. It's very connected-based. You're supposed to remember one thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. And it's very important to remember those general things, but take note of the smaller details. Look at your script, look at your episode that you're filming, look at your setup, and appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that I have 2 monitors, and one of them is slightly farther up than the other because they're big monitors on a small desk. I appreciate that, though, because it gives me a better angle to look at chat than it does on one screen. I also appreciate the fact that where I keep my TV for streaming and recording, part of the corner is kind of hidden behind a part of a shelf, because that's just how the table's built. I appreciate this stupid thing. Like, find the little things that help you appreciate you. Shut up. Not you. You're not a stupid little thing.
No, I didn't say stupid little thing. I said you appreciate me.
You just pointed to yourself when I said stupid little thing.
I just meant appreciate me.
Yeah, appreciate the people around you that make your process great too, obviously. I thought you were doing a self-dig, and I was
actually being nice to myself.
I was gonna get canceled live on air for elbowing you, and that would not have been a way to continue our podcast. So, but like, find the little things that make your process you, and appreciate them a little more. Because at the end of the day, yes, content creation's a wide thing. Yes, media, podcasts, and reviews, and channels are a dime a dozen. But what makes it special is the little details and how you act, how you write, how you film, how you set up, how you record, how you edit, how you finalize, and how you publish and parade things. And parade everything in your life. You know, I think my depression's a lot better now. I still find it hard sometimes to wake up every day and appreciate the content creating process now, but I found a renewed sense of happiness now, enjoying the world around me and going to things instead of just working my ass off all day, you know? And this isn't for everybody, obviously, because not everybody is burnt out because of the other parts of their life, but if it is the content process, spice things up. The biggest thing you can do is keep yourself in a bubble. Thank you, Glinda. The worst thing you do yourself is keep yourself in a bubble as a content creator. Like, yes, obviously, people are going to find you for your specific niche. And it's tough now because everyone feels comfortable in that specific niche and hates change. That's the issue, is that when content creators branch out, nobody likes it and it fits people in a bubble. Do not be afraid of that bubble, though. You're still going to get paid if you end up getting paid at the end of the day. You're still going to have people that appreciate you and they're there for your voice, no matter how you produce it. Just do it in a respectful way, please. I beg of you.
Don't get typecasted in your own life.
Exactly. Find what makes you you. Switch things up. And honestly, switch things up while you're small. You know? Switch things up before you are stuck in a YouTube creator program or stuck in a sponsored Spotify thing or Apple Music thing. There's no better time to find your voice and what works for you than before you start getting wrapped up in these things. And even if you do get wrapped up in these things, don't let it take away from you. Just because you made a couple deals to make this your life, or as long as you want it to be your life, it doesn't mean it defines you. Your voice defines you. And that's my advice. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
You're the pilot of your own life. If you believe, then you can achieve. And I don't remember the rest of the line.
Have you been holding that one in?
No, I just thought of it.
Okay. There you go. Are you happy with that advice?
See, I watched Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Are you happy with that advice?
I am.
Putting me on air?
Yes, I'm very proud.
With my blasting me for my content creation?
I didn't think you were going to go that deep.
Well, unfortunately, I'm a very deep-going person. You should know this, so... Why are you looking at me like that? Oh my god. End the podcast! End the episode. The unthinkables happened. You're the dirty fuck for once. Do your goodbyes.
I actually have to get ready to go catch up on another episode of, or another type of media, because my show comes back on tonight. If you don't know, I love The Rookie.
Yeah.
And season 8 is back tonight. I'm so excited. So I have to go get this edited super quickly. And then post it, and then I'm going to start my show. So hurry up and finish your game so I can go do that.
Okay, are you gonna finish the episode? I'm gonna stand here because I can't believe that just happened.
Thanks.
I was being genuine. That's fucking crazy.
Thanks for hanging out with us in the catch-up corner, where we didn't really catch up on anything today.
We caught up on burnout and what it means to overcome it.
But we will be back next time with Andor.
For realsies.
And then we will discuss what we are doing for the rest of the month.
Yeah. So, question of the day. How do you overcome burnout? What are your methods in the chat? What does burnout mean to you? And how is media consumption for you? Because obviously, there's a lot to catch up on and it can get tiring. But hey, as long as there's shit to catch up on, there's a spot in this corner. Print that on a fucking mug and sell it tomorrow, baby. All right, that's it. I love you all.
We love you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.